Shalom Yasha'Allah. First and foremost, we get all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah Kwadash, the honest apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect that's pushing the great gospel in sincerity and truth. This is Brother Tazakai Yahweh from the Great Millstone to the Annapolis camp, coming at you another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashim Abashai. Lord willing, be edifying. Got an article here from theguardian.com, and it reads, France. At least 108 police injured and 291 held in May Day protests in cities across France. It said tear gas fire amid clashes as unions turn traditional marches into anti-government protests against pension reform, which just came out, of course, Monday, May 1st, 2023, the hopeful year that all these prophecies come to pass. And it reads, French police fired tear gas and clashed with demonstrators in Paris and other cities on Monday after trade unions transformed their traditional Labor Day marches into anti-government demonstrations against the rise in the retirement age. At least 108 police were wounded and 291 people detained across France as violence erupted in several cities on the sidelines of the main union-led marches. The Interior Minister, Gerard Darmanin, said in Paris 25 police were injured and 111 people were detained. One police officer suffered serious burns to his hands and face after being hit by a petrol bomb, he said. So yeah, it got real serious over there in France. It said Darmanin condemned protesters he described as being from the far left, known as Black Bloc, saying they number around 2,000 in Paris and another 1,000 in the southeastern city of Lyon. He urged that those who attack the police and public property be severely punished. The Prime Minister, Elizabeth Borne, praised the earlier marches and said the responsible attitude shown earlier made the violence all the more unacceptable. In Paris, the trade union-led demonstration began peacefully, with many families joining in, holding banners calling for social justice and demanding Macron resign or withdraw his law to raise the minimum eligible pension age from 62 to 64. But on the edges of the march, as it passed through Paris's 11th, what's that, arrondissement, police fired tear gas and clashed with groups of young men dressed in black. Projectiles, beans, and petrol bombs were thrown at police. Got like an image right here. One of those that was detained, possibly about to throw a bomb or whatever the case may be, you know. And you see who it is. But it says some Paris bus stops and shop fronts were smashed and graffiti with anti-police slogans. As the march reached its endpoint at Place de la Nation, police fired tear gas and pushed back crowds as demonstrators threw projectiles. There was also unrest in Lyon, where several cars were set alight and the windows of some businesses were smashed. In Nantes in western France, bins were piled up and set alight in front of an administration building. Shop windows were smashed and police fired tear gas at the protesters through projectiles. A demonstrator in Nantes was treated by paramedics for a serious injury to his hand. In Marseille, a group of more than 100 demonstrators briefly occupied the luxury hotel near the Old Port before being pushed back by police. Tear gas was also fired in Toulouse and Rennes. So, and in various cities over there in France, it was, it was going in. And I seen also, try to get articles on it, but there was other, places partaking in this whole May Day thing, that they say it's supposed to be a day that's pretty much supposed to be dedicated to the workers and the laborers and all this and that, but it also goes into, rituals and all types of madness as well, from old, like, Germanic, traditions and so forth and so on. So there's a lot tied into it, but it's also another big indicator of why, it's going down as well, too. But Lord, we'll get to that after the reading. It says, police have been given a last-minute go-ahead to use drones as a security measure after Paris court rejected a petition from rights groups for them not to be used. The Interior Minister, Darmanin, tweeted that while the great majority of demonstrators were, of course, peaceful, in Paris, Lyon, and Nantes, police had faced extremely violent rioters who had one objective: kill a police officer and steal property. See, he said the violence should be condemned. In separate protests, environmental activists from Extinction Rebellion sprayed orange paint on the facade. Uh, what's that foundation? Louis Vuitton, or Facade, yeah, one of those words. Louis Vuitton Museum in Paris, which is backed by the luxury goods giant LVMH. Different environmental protest groups sprayed orange paint around the place, Vendôme in central Paris, known for its jewelry shops, and targeted the facade of the Justice Ministry. Says last month, Macron signed into law an unpopular rise in the minimum eligible age for state pensions from 62 to 64, despite months of strikes. There have been sporadic unrest and clashes with police after the executive order was used to push the law through parliament without a vote. Macron and the government are now trying to move on from the pensions crisis, with the president making several visits to provincial France in recent days. But protesters have booed and banged pots and pans. Trade unionists said the mood of anger in France has not subsided. Unions have called for a big turnout on Monday, and the demonstrations were larger than standard Labor Day marches, with hundreds of thousands attending. About 300 demonstrations across France. So the people are mad. Say Sonia Pacode of the moderate CFDT Union Old Le Monde that violent groups who have nothing to do with the struggles were leading and had taken advantage of the peaceful trade union march in Lyon. It says the far right leader Marine Le Pen, whose national rally is the biggest opposition party in parliament, held a May Day gathering in the Normandy port of Le Havre, accusing Macron of stoking tensions in society. Macron centrist grouping lacks an absolute majority in parliament, making it hard for the government to push through new legislation. After the rollover of pensions, after 3 months of intermittent strike days and demonstrations against the pensions laws, the government is also struggling to re-engage with voters. The centrist Francois, Bayrou, who's movement Democratic Party, or Modem, is an ally with Macron's parliamentary group, said France needed healing and reconciliation. He said the pension law had been badly explained by politicians. I don't think it's specific to France, but public opinion and French people no longer tolerate decisions being made far away from them without being informed of the reason for those decisions, he told French radio. So, and this is what's, going over there. Like I said, as we understand it, as the days are coming to pass, with prophecies, coming forth, we see that, the beast, they on EU, man, they have been, suffering a lot of turmoil. In these past few years, it's been getting worse and worse and worse for them. Which ultimately, we know, predominantly of those nations, well, all those nations of the NATO and the EU is what? So-called white people. Esau, Edom. And the Lord is most definitely visit them for all their iniquity and their wickedness, right? But what I want to get, also going to that day. So if you can look up that May Day stuff, it's going to tell you, it goes back to the rituals, midsummer, all this and that, the summer solstice and all this and that, which goes into witchcraft and all that madness as well. But it also goes into what this guy did, right? And if you look into it, we're going to get to the point. So Adam Weishaupt, or Johann Adam Weishaupt, was a 1748 Holy Roman Empire. That's when he was born. But anyways, it's right here. We're just going to read the first line. It says, on May 1st, right? May 1st, which is what? May Day, 1776, Johann Adam Weishaupt founded those guys in the electorate of Bavaria. There we go. So I'm going to leave it at that. Or I'll leave it right here. You can pause and skim through it. You see? He said that F word. All that stuff goes into witchcraft. all types of madness, white supremacy, all that. That's what all that goes into. That's what this that real energy is going to that. And this is what considered what a Western philosophy or whatever, group, whatever. Well, we understand that it was. It's the elites. This was one thing what the elites found. It was that well, he was one of he go to those families that was founded on that day. When you go and look into you know like the ancient the reason why May Day happened in those ancient days, it don't mention that particular day of what dude did or what he founded. And we know that he go back to the Rothschilds, Rockefeller, all them. We know he go back to them people, you know. But like I said, but if you're ignorant, you don't understand these things, and you're not gonna be able to, decipher that. But they said all those injuries and all that, like all that energy was put into left hand wickedness. Injuries, the clashes, the protests. Imagine all the things that was pushed forth when all this madness was going on. You know, Imagine if people, other countries, stuff getting bombed. This is a lot of stuff that's going on. So you get distracted by that, then whatever. That was your lot. But this is gonna get to the scriptures. This is Second Ezra chapter 9 verse 1. He answered me then and said, "Measure thou the time diligently in itself." Right. So you're supposed to measure the time diligently in itself by doing what? You see the things that's going on in the real world, and you tie it to the scriptures prophetically. That's how you measure down the time, right? That the scriptures is like a measuring instrument. We don't know the day nor hour, but we understand that we can measure by the times of how things are coming to pass, what season it is, and if we are in those latter times or not, which obviously that we are in, as far as we seeing these prophecies coming to pass and popping off. Just like when they speaking of, how they put it in the mainstream a little bit, but what we see these other companies and what these people are saying is what they want us to go into what, presenting that MOTB, eventually, which they're gonna do it through gradualism. Where is that written in any other book in the world? Where is that written about a device that people have to receive to buy or sell? Where is that written at? But we can tell you where it is. We can tell you where it is written at, and that's what in the Holy Scriptures. But like again, if something major like that happened, like Elder Yashawam always say, if something major like that would happen, where would that be found at? Where would that be written? Where would that be said? Where would that be told? And that's in the book of Revelation, chapter 13 primarily. And then moving on to the other chapters that's in, and the latter chapters is in as well, 13, 16. But and it says, and when thou seest part of signs past, which I have told thee before, right? Because through the Spirit, Yahweh Shemashai supping with this men and exposing those tokens, those signs to them before they happen. So you get told them before, right? But then it says what? Then shalt thou understand that it's the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world, which he made. So when he told you about them, and then when you start to see it, then you'll know that this was what the Lord spoke of. This is what he said was going to come to pass in due season, in the time that he appointed, right? They say, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and what upwards of the people in the world. This is an uproar. It's a civil unrest. It's a state of disorder, right? That's an uproar, And then also what goes with sedition as well. It says, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days which were before thee, even before the beginning. So then when it's evident and it's put in your face, now you definitely understand because you was told for it before, and the reading to the Spirit, then you actually seeing it play out. Now you will understand it because you read it and you believed it. Now you seeing it and believed it, which was all believed anyway through the Spirit. But again, uproars of the people, this is part of what the Lord's visitations. This is how he visits this world, by sending turmoil, calamity, and death and destruction, as well as he sends, blessing stuff to his elect, because he have care for his elect. But this is how he visits the world. The world has what? Anger, Yahweh Shemashai. So if the Lord is angry, don't expect nothing good to be sent here. We understand that what? It is inevitable that destruction is coming to this place. But it's going to happen in the time period, and the time frame that Yahweh Shemashai has a lot of it for. Right? So we go to chapter 15. And then another thing, as well, like we understand, these people are upset and they angry. Now, yeah, maybe, pension this or that, whatever, but at the end of the day, that's not the only protests that have been happening and going on. They've been mad over a lot of stuff. As a matter of fact, my whole, like, I'm from Illinois. I'm in Indianapolis, but in my little small town where I'm from, they just had, protests about, you know, they just passed a vote to what to ban, abortion type stuff, pills and stuff like that, so that it don't happen. Since the Roe versus Wade thing, and people's out there mad, pro-choice, this, whatever, all that madness. So, there's many uproars that's going on around, but going on to like what's going on, they say the people are upset, the people are angry, right? Proverbs 29:2 say, when the righteous are in authority, right? Who are the righteous? Those are the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, and the people will rejoice once the destruction of this place of Esau, Edom's of his world, when this is destroyed, and then that's why I say Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So when the world of Jacob comes, then the people are going to rejoice because the world is going to be ran in righteousness and not wickedness that Esau, Edom is rather than. Right? It's going to be ran fair, just, righteous, the right way. But what we experiencing right now, or the people experiencing right now, is this. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And who are the wicked? So-called white man, Esau, Edom, over there in France. That's one of their strongholds, so to speak. One of their strong, EU countries, stuff like that. But even these saying to them that they have turmoil amongst themselves. That's why I say, if Satan be against Satan, their kingdom shall not stand. Right? It's a lot of stuff going on in the amongst the beasts. A lot of them not seeing eye to eye, which goes to the prophecy, about going to like that iron mixed with miry clay. You know what I'm saying? It's not going. You're gonna have the strong countries, and you're gonna have those that are weak, and it's just ultimately not gonna be stable. They're not gonna always see eye to eye. They're not going to mix, so to speak. They're not going to gel together. Going to that prophecy, going to Daniel, which is a whole other lesson, but Daniel chapter 2. But that's why those people are upset. They're mourning. Because why? The wicked bear rule, Esau, Edom. Why they say, the earth is given to the hand of the wicked, Job 9:24. And who is the wicked? You get that in what? Malachi 1:4. Esau, Edom, they the border of wickedness. But, we're just gonna get the point. Well, the second Ezra chapter 15, verse 15. Or 14, woe to the world, and then the dwindling. So, woe, lamentation of mourning, there, woe, destruction is coming to the world. For the sword, their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another. And this is what's going on right here. People stand up and fight against another. They say you got your far left, this and that, and they was upset. And then they hear that the police come out with the tear gas. They said over 108 people were, police officers were injured and all this and that. Because, that was one people standing up and fighting against another people. They was on two opposite sides, fighting against each other, and swords in their hands. See, some of the people was throwing bombs. So it don't have to be just an actual sword. People have guns, knives, daggers, nunchucks, staffs, and even bombs. But that's the point. People fighting against one another. For there should be sedition, right? Like I said, an uprising, so to speak. Say uproar, right? Rebellion against, what's going on, or what's the status quo, what's going on. These people are rebelling against that law that was passed in regards to the retirement age for pensions and stuff like that. So it says, and then when that's going on for that, then how much more will it be, and how much violent will it be when, oh yeah, y'all not gonna be able to eat this, you're not gonna be able to buy this, or not gonna be able to buy that, or get this, or you're not gonna be able to come here or go there and save you have this MOTB. How much more then? Oh, when this food supply is really dwindling, like it's dwindling, and being held back. But wait till they really, when push comes to shove, when you really can't imagine how the people may act to hell with this pension that they bad at. When will it come to your life, whether it's life or death, if you can eat or not, or get food or raiment, or get clothing or raiment to stay warm, or to even get power in your home. Who knows? There's a lot of things that's gonna go into people bugging out. So imagine what's gonna happen there versus they mad over this little thing, this little pension thing. Imagine what, like I said, when your life is on the line. It's going to get even worse, right? So for there should be sedition among men, and invade one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. Now, it's like I said, these people, They've been shows just like in Sri Lanka and other places in like Peru and stuff like that. If these people was able to get a whole, see what they doing to the police, throwing bombs at the police, hurting them. Say injuring them. Like you said, their objective was to kill a police officer and so forth and so on. How much more do you think would have been when they got to one of those elected officials who took part in the vote against or whatever what their will was? Man, they would have tore them up. They would have really hurt them. So here it is. They was throwing bombs at police officers, right? So they're not gonna regard their kids or prisoners. They're not gonna call. They're gonna regard or care about any body of authority that's trying to deter this or that. No, the people are upset and angry. So they're gonna do, as I say, of course, their actions stay in their power. It's gonna be the spirit of the Lord Yahweh Shai put upon them to do the things which they do, because He's the ones in control anyway, right? Like you say, shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city and the Lord have not done it? Right? That's Yahweh Shai taking credit that He sending evil. He sending this uproar. He sending, saying state of disorder and so forth and so forth and so on. Why? Because it's all tied into His prophecies. Right? So like I said, of course, they're actually staying in their power. So the Lord put in the spirit of these people to do these things. To do what? To fulfill the prophecy. And like I said, a lot more things, this is just a little something, a little uproar of the people. But, a lot of things going on. A lot more things going on. These prophecies are coming to pass, popping off the page, so it's best for you to seek ye the Lord while He may be found and call upon Him while it's near. Because if you do not do these things, trust and believe. These people, the people who don't have the Lord, man, if you don't have the Lord on your side, man, you just through. You finish. You're not going to make it. Point blank, period. So it's best for you to, if the Spirit get upon you, the Lord put the Spirit upon you to seek Him sincerely, truthfully, with your whole heart, mind, body, and soul, or you're going to be left out there to dry to receive death and destruction with the rest of the undesirables that will not receive salvation from Yahweh Shai. Being the only people that can receive the salvation is those of the nation of Israel. Right? No other nation, no other people, no none of that. Only those of the nation of Israel. So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the speckled bird, who look like the nations, because they was bigger amongst them, but they see line, and they scattered amongst them, but they see line go back to the 12 tribes of Israel. So, hey, man. Hey, time is running out. That spiritual arc is closing. So, hey, man, it's best to get with the program, or, hey, like I say, whether you best read what, get right, or you most definitely going to get left. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to sincere Akim, or sincere brothers and sisters out there listening. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. The bodies of our apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.